Welcome back to another season of the Sheep in the Meadow Podcast. This is the first one of the 2023 to 2024 school year. Today, our guest is Mrs. Geller, or Jacqueline Geller. So let's get right into it. Today, our piece of artwork behind us today is Michael Jordan. A little story behind this. My dad was in the city. He works in the city. And he went into this like restaurant or store or something like that. And he told the owner, he saw this picture hanging up and he told the owner, he's like, how much do you want for that? And the guy was like, $10. And my dad was like, okay, cool, I'll take it. So that's kind of literally how I got this painting. A new thing, or not really a new thing, that I implemented on the podcast is every time I have a new guest, they're going to bring in something to tell a story about. So Mrs. Geller, what did you bring in to show us today?
Okay, well, first off, when we spoke on Friday and you said that, I like wrapped my head around it all weekend long thinking like, oh my gosh, like one item, and what is he going to ask me to do with this one item? So I was going to actually bring in my baby blanket, which I call Whoopee. Why? I have no clue. I don't even know how you would spell that. But Wooby. That's how I would spell it. I feel like there might be like WH, like with the H.
WHOOBY or IE.
I think it's like an IE kind of situation. Keep the H silent. And I like whipped it out of my closet because I've had it obviously since I was a baby. And my husband's like, Jackie, there is no way in hell you can actually bring Whoopee in public. People are going to think you're crazy. I'm like, you're so right. Like that's just really embarrassing. And it's like holy. And then I used to refer to it as like my holy blanket. I don't know. It got a little weird. And so yesterday we did like a family fun day together. And so we celebrated my husband's birthday and also my brother's dog's birthday. And Emma and I decided, my 7-year-old decided, let's go quickly get Rocky, their dog, a dog gift. So we run over to Petco and we walk in and there's puppies up for adoption. And I have a soft spot for boxers. I'm on my second dog, and there was a boxer mix, and she was the cutest thing. Her name was Ruby. Now Emma is holding the dog, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Emma, like, let's go. Like, we don't have time to adopt a dog. We already have a dog. And keep in mind, my husband didn't really want the second dog, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, we can't. We just cannot. And Emma's like, please. And do like the pouty lips. I'm like, if you want to take my phone, send the pictures to Daddy, by all means. And he, of course, said no. And she takes, well, I'm not paying attention. I'm playing with another dog. She like takes, looking in my bag, and she's like, I have a credit card. Do you take credit card to the woman? Like, she's I was like, Emma, what are you, like, cut it out. What are you doing? Right. And she's like, the woman then basically told her that, no, it's cash only. So the whole way now to my house, to then pick up Chris and pick up Gigi, to then go to my mom's, Emma's like crying and like, if we just got rid of Dad and Gigi, we could have a second dog. I'm like, well, we're not getting rid of Gigi and Daddy, sorry. And it really made me think of my dog print of my first dog. So this is actually the paw print. It's probably hard to kind of see. Whoop, I guess this way. So of my first ever dog. So this is Moku's paw print that sits next to my bed. And my whole life, I felt bad for Emma in that moment, but we also have a dog. Mm-hmm. And my whole life, I wanted a dog. So every single Christmas, on the Christmas list that we'd put on the refrigerator growing up, I would always ask for a dog. Mm-hmm. And every year, a dog never came because I traveled a lot with my parents. We were big skiers. And it would be very difficult, during the 80s and 90s to have a dog sitter. Like, it's not like now where there's, like, dog hotels. Like, my dog goes to, like, puppy motel and, has spa treatment.
My dog goes to my grandma's house when we leave.
Okay, so there you go. Like, having, like, a family member to, like, watch. Like, my current dog, that's what we do. A lot of times either she's, like, getting a dog sitter or my parents will take her. But, we didn't have that luxury. So we never were allowed to have a dog. And every Christmas, tearing through the presents, never a dog. I'm like, I was so good this year, you know, and like crying about it. And I'm like hearing Emma cry, and I'm like, but Emma, like, you're so lucky. Like, you got to meet Moku, and now we have Kona, and you just need to remember that, like, growing up, Emmy, like, I didn't have that. And I love my Kona right now. I genuinely do. Like, she is awesome, but there's something about your first dog. Like, Moku was something that I couldn't even describe to you, like, how perfect this dog was. It was almost like a human in, like, dog form.
Yeah.
She just really understood, like, emotions and patience. And even, like, as my dad was getting older, because when Gigi was sick, my dog basically moved in with my parents because I was either at Sloan Kettering in the city, or we were living in the city for, you know, those 6 months, and, like, I couldn't have a dog there. And so my parents got really attached to Moku, and so she would, like, slowly claw her way down the stairs with my dad, and, like, my dad would be slow moving, and so she would, like, inch and, like, wait for him and then inch, you know. Or let's say, you know, she's a boxer, so she's, like, pretty tall, 55 pounds. Let's say, like, you had a full charcuterie board on on this table. She would just sit next to it. You can, like, go in another room, like, make more food, bring it out, and she would just sit there, like, patiently.
Wow.
Kona, my dog right now, like, right in front of you, that dog would pounce on top of that, grab every, like, the prosciutto would be gone, the apricots, the honey, she would be gone. If you, like, blinked, that would all be off the table. And so, like, my Moku was just, like, the greatest gift that I've ever had in my life, you know? Aside from my daughters, obviously, but it's just, like, different. It's this unconditional love. And if anybody knows me, they know that I'm obsessed with dogs. That was pretty much the first thing that we talked about in leadership. It's like, do you have a dog? Like, let me hear all about it.
And then your Instagram is filled with dog
Yes,
videos.
my dog, like, I just, like, some people like TikTok dances, some people, you know, like, funny memes. Like, I just like to scroll through dog content, and I feel the need to then, like, send it to whoever are my friends. And there's sometimes, like, enough with the dog content, Instagram reels. Like, we've had enough. And I just spam people with it.
Yeah. My mom's first dog was a Rottweiler. He was the runt of the litter, and his name was Bruce. They named him after Bruce Lee. And you know, my mom, it's the same thing. My mom talks about that dog as if it was her first child. So she says that she had 3 children. Which was Bruce, and then Lily, and then you. Me. So
Lily's really the middle child. I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
And she loves our dogs right now, and she kind of actually wants another Rottweiler.
Oh, I love Rotties. Rottweiler puppies are, like, the cutest things with their, like, little brown paws and the black body. Like, they're the cutest.
And they have the little light brown, like,
I
tones.
know.
Yeah.
The only problem with Rotties is a lot of times they'll have, like, a weight issue, and they just get so, like, big. I mean, I have 2. You know, I've had 2 boxers, but people think the same thing about boxers, but we always get females, so they're so much smaller than the male boxers. It's, like, almost like 100-pound difference between a male boxer and a female boxer.
Yeah, and their heads look different, too.
Yes.
Like, you could tell the difference between a male and a female due to their heads.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I love Rottweilers. They're just a little too powerful for, like, my kids, you know, like, walking them, but they're so cute. But my dream dog would be a Bernese Mountain Dog.
My best friend, actually, Luke Lang, if you're watching this, I hope you are.
Shout out.
But he had a Bernese Mountain Dog who they named Bernie. He was, like, huge, like 100+ pounds, probably like 150 pounds. He was a big dog.
I know.
And the fur, but he was also, like, overweight. But I loved that dog.
They're, like, the best.
Yeah.
The problem is that Gigi and Chris are both allergic to dogs. So yes, like, you might think, like,
but
why do I still have a dog?
If you just have a dog, they overcome it. Because my dad's also allergic.
Yeah.
But it's just like.
So that's why we always have, like, we've
up.
had short hair, you know, dogs.
Yeah.
So, you know, so that's why people are like maybe a Bernedoodle. But Chris, he loves having a dog, but it's a lot, right? We love to travel. So, like, this summer of July, like, my dog was, like, displaced almost the whole entire month. I was only home, like, 3 days in the month of July.
That is wild.
Yeah. Like, we had a lot of, like, different trips that we were doing. So it's, like, hard for, like, a dog, too. And so, I mean, luckily, like, she spent some time with my parents. Sometimes she went to, like, the dog sitter. So she had a, you know.
Little routine type
Yeah,
of
a little, like, refresher of like hanging out with some extra dogs and going to my mom's.
That's nice.
Yeah.
What classes do you teach at MEPM? Do you want to tell people?
Sure. So currently on my schedule, it's AP US History. And I'm really, really fortunate that I have 4 leadership classes. So 2 of them are juniors and 2 of them are seniors.
Now, leadership is obviously, it's a class where people wouldn't expect, they actually don't even know what to expect. Because, when I'm in leadership, obviously I'm one of your students, and I didn't know what to expect from leadership. So I asked Lily, and she's like, you have to take leadership. It's honestly like a relief, like a weight off your shoulders, basically. So like, what are some of the things that we talk about in leadership classes?
So it's so hard because every year it's very different. And even like, I have a third period senior and 5th period senior. And then I have a 7th period junior and 9th period junior class. And, the makeup, I'm the same person, but the makeup of the class is, obviously morph into its own kind of beast and own kind of environment. And then I try to not let it impact how I then respond, but you can't help it, right?
Yeah.
So the classes run very differently. Junior year, I have some of the most fun, right? Because I get to like play around with you guys. Yeah. We do like quirky things to try to like learn through experience. I truly am a firm believer that we learn through play. And like, so by playing silly games or doing silly activities, sometimes, shout out to my student, Mia, my 9th period leadership, one day she looked at me and she's like, where do you even come up with this, right? Because she's like, what are we doing right now? I was like, man, just let me have my fun. And so we do like silly activities to try to learn like really good communication skills. I think above all, in terms of leadership, some things are so innate in our, in who we are. It's so hard to teach like empathy and compassion. I could show what it should look like, but a lot of that is just your own personal like makeup, right? And kind-hearted and thoughtful. But to me, like the skills that I can work on, obviously like problem solving is a way to like encourage kids how to problem solve and how to actually like take a step back and remain calm. I can work on that with kids. But to me, the most important piece is a lot of times communication. That's why we do like a lot of like talking activities. So on Fridays when we do like process, it's probably my favorite time of the week because it's really a day where we can just kind of decompress and either the students come up with questions, so that's like the seniors, or like I come up with questions. And sometimes I know exactly where I'm going that week with the question. And then other times something happened the day before and something prompted me to like do it, or something happened in the world. And it's in that moment that kids can learn a little bit of empathy, right? And understanding, wow, like I didn't know Luke, let's say you shared something. I didn't know Luke was going through that. I didn't know that about Luke.
And I like when we first started doing those, like it made me realize too that like, there's so many people in the school and there's so many people that you surround yourself by like every day for a lot of time. And, everybody has something. And the fact that like they have the ability to, really like tell a crowd of people that are going to listen and that they can trust and really like take that off, it's so relieving. And especially for like, for certain people that don't have anybody to really tell or don't, even if they have friends, but they really don't have somebody that they can reach out to and talk about something serious like that. Yeah. And I feel like that's a lot, that's stereotypically like males, especially now. But, and I feel like that's important. Like that's a really, like if I could recommend leadership to everybody, I would. Aww. Just because of the fact, like it's important. Like it's very important to talk about some of these things that we talk about and just getting things off of your chest. Yeah.
I mean, that I feel like that's something that, and not every leadership class, in the other buildings work that way. That's just like how I,
like manage a class.
Yeah. And that's just like what after working with the kids. And so let me backtrack. So when I first got, asked to do this gig as leadership, and we didn't really have curriculum, Miss Einbeiner, my boss, and I, we went to Syosset, and Syosset has a very similar kind of feel of this like process. And like I sat in their class and I saw it, and their program's really intense because they get selected in 8th grade going into 9th grade. Miss Einbeiner and I like talked a lot about that. I feel like that is cool and everything, but that is really hard because I think about how hard it is for me to find boys that are recommended, only because how you guys sometimes act in 9th grade and 10th grade is so silly, right? Yeah. Including girls. Like sometimes people have this like huge growth going into 11th grade and I never get an opportunity because my kids get selected in 10th grade. Or let's say my greatest thing that I ever experienced is seeing so much growth from kids, boys and girls, 11th to 12th grade. Like it's like this huge like leap, and it's like, who are you over the summer? But they did like a process thing, and I'm like, oh, I like this. And I saw like some of their questions that they asked, and it was a little bit more like geared towards like current events a little bit, and a little bit more guided in that. And like over time, I realized that like so often students just need a place and a space that they can feel like seen and heard. And that's why even my whole approach with the class oftentimes is I'm sitting down like more eye level than rather than stand. Unless we're like outside, then I'm, like we're all standing. I tend to try to like sit on the stool or sit in my chair versus when I'm in A-push and I have like the podium and like everything's me directing the conversation. A place for you guys to just kind of like feel like it's your space. And I'm beyond impressed by like my juniors have like very quickly, especially your class, 7th period, really like opened up, and I wasn't ready for it. And I think it's like so cool though that you guys aren't like all friends. Like there's definitely like friends in the class, like little pockets of friends. But even when we're sitting in a circle, like it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel cliquey. And you guys really just realize, okay, like this person shared something, I can share something. And like, one class when people got emotional was so beautiful that non-friends were just like, I got you if you ever need anything. Like that's a cool thing that happens that is not me. I just create the space for it, and it's all you guys. Yeah.
I find it very interesting that like, you'll hear something crazy from somebody else during that class, and then you won't even like, you're not even friends with them, so you won't even like say hi to them in hallways or something like that. It's just interesting how things like that work, where they trust you enough where even if they're not telling you one-on-one, but they're telling you in a class, they trust you enough to say something so powerful, and then like you won't even talk to them outside of that class. And then like it also makes me realize that like I think I should probably start making an effort to talking to people more. I don't know. I'm so bad at that.
I feel like it's your generation though. Like I even see it with my 11-year-old Luke, that kids that she went to school with for 5 years, 6 years, really, right? She's now in 6th grade. We'll like see them like at the movie theater. I'm like, oh look, it's Lily, go say hi. Or oh look, it's Christina, go say hi. And she's like, no, that's weird. I'm like, why is it weird to like be in a public setting? You both kind of like side eye and acknowledge you're here and be like, yo, what's up, Luke? Like, why? Like, I'm not saying that you should be awkward, be like, ooh, like wave like a weirdo. But like, why is that awkward? But yet those same people, you guys will have no problem like Snapchatting and like send them a picture of a ceiling. Like it's so bizarre to me. Your generation's weird.
I'm definitely a bigger fan of like, face-to-face like conversation.
I get that.
It's just that works easier for me.
Yeah.
I also am really bad at small talk. So I feel like I give off the vibe where it's like, I'm not like too approachable. Okay. I'm like friendly, but I'm not like too approachable. Just because like I don't like small talk. Like I'd rather like talk about like something that you're passionate about or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more interesting. It lets me like get to know you better as a person.
Listen, I cannot relate more than that statement. Like my close friends know that I hate like new settings when you have to do that small talk. Like, hey, how are you? Or, like, how's your summer? What's your weekend plans? Like I hate that. Like I feel like it's so, I don't know, not organic. I don't know what it is yet. Like I have no problem like sitting down like chatting with a student, but like even like other adults, I'm like, I don't really want to like go to this. I'm invited to my daughter's having like, my daughter Emma was invited to like a Halloween party this Saturday. I thought it was just like a drop-off thing. I was like, yeah, she'll be there. The mom was like, oh, okay, don't forget you and your husband and your other daughters invited. I'm like, oh my God, now I gotta like small talk with you guys.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh.
That must be like, that must suck. Like as a parent,
Yeah,
like having to meet, like
I'm 40. Like I understand. Listen, I was a Girl Scout. Make new friends, keep the old. I get it, but like no, I'm not.
Like my best friend, Anthony Carlo. Another shout out. Our moms went to elementary school together.
Oh, that's so cool.
So like they're genuine friends,
Right?
And we're like I would consider him like one of my best friends because
Right.
I also went to elementary school with him. So it's just like sometimes I'll go to Anthony's and then his mom will invite my mom. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going with you to Anthony's now, and just stuff like that. But like as a parent, when your kid meets other kids that you and then parents that they don't know, like I never even thought of it. That must like suck. Like that must suck. Like I would not want to.
Yes. Like we just had like the back to school bash like back in September.
Mm-hmm.
And, like everyone goes, they bring their like beach chairs or sports chairs, and then like everyone's like small talking. And I won't go if my husband's not going because like I just don't. I just hate small talk.
Yeah.
However, like other parents that like I've known from Juliana's, grade, like I could talk to them for hours and be like, "Yo, want to go out to dinner? I'll make a sick board if you want to come over." But other than that, it's like, like, hey, where'd you go to college? Like, what are your aspirations in life?
Is that really one of the questions?
No,
that
I don't
was
even
gonna say,
know.
that's like
Just
such a
like,
random question.
it's like, oh, what does your husband do? Like I've gone to like other events when Chris isn't with me, and it's like, oh, what does your husband do? It's like, well, I'm more than just my husband. Like,
Yeah. No, it's annoying.
Yeah. But I find it super fascinating. I'm somehow drawn to other teachers. Like right now, I have like plans to do brunch. I'm rolling my eyes because like I was invited and I said yes, but
You don't know if you're gonna go?
no, I'm definitely gonna go.
Oh.
But it's just like I'm kind of dreading it because these are like new moms that I'm friends with. All three of the other moms I'm going out with are teachers. I somehow am drawn to other teachers. I don't know what it is. And my husband laughs. He's like, is every mom that you meet have to have the criteria of being a teacher? Because it seems to be that you somehow are drawn. And if they're a social studies teacher, forget about we're best friends.
Well, it's just a lot to talk about. A lot of common interests,
Yeah.
I guess.
I just think like personality-wise, sometimes it just like meshes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
As an adult, are you dressing up for Halloween? Do you say you usually dress up for Halloween?
I always dress up for Halloween. Now,
right.
Unlike my roommate from college, who I'm still really close with, she, like, Halloween is, like, her favorite holiday. So, like, when we were in college, we had, right? When we were in college, like, we had to go all out.
Okay.
Like, it was not, like, slap something together.
Right. Would you, like, wear something to, like, a party? Would it be, like, a party?
Oh, yeah, like a party.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't go to class.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to be like,
Santa College. I'm 21 with like my pillowcase. No, I feel like once you can afford your own candy, like you shouldn't be trick or treating. I think that should be like a staple rule. Like, I'm sorry, when a 16-year-old comes to my door, it's like, you can have your working papers, son. Like, what are we doing?
So you think that like a high schooler shouldn't be trick or treating?
I feel like junior and on.
Okay.
And like, I'm sorry, when you go and you steal somebody's candy bowl, like that's just messed up.
Yeah.
Like, shame on you. Leave the bowl.
One time somebody took my bowl.
That's like
exactly.
Okay, fine. If you want to dump all the candy out, like fine. Like I'm leaving it there because I don't want it. Right?
Not that I don't want it, but it's also just like I don't want to answer the door to.
Yeah, I don't want to like.
It's like okay, take the candy, but
take the candy, but leave my bowl. Like that's so obnoxious. Shame on you for stealing my candy bowl. One time it was a really nice like Ray Dunn like ceramic bowl. Like how dare you? Anyway,
it's also like what kid needs a bowl?
No, it's just a high school
Yeah,
just being obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm nothing better to do. Let me go steal a bowl off somebody's porch. Jerk. Shame on them. So now that in my adulthood, I do always dress up. Sometimes I've done things like on my own. Like I was Mary Poppins one year because my daughter Gigi was like obsessed with Mary Poppins. But the last couple of years, myself, Miss Dennis, and Miss Stack will somehow like do a costume together. But it's like really challenging being an adult female and finding appropriate costumes that A, we feel comfortable wearing, and B, is school appropriate.
Yeah.
So whatever we find, we typically have to like make it ourselves somehow.
Okay.
So our costume this year is more of on the joke, but I think people will more or less be laughing at us, not necessarily with us. We once did like rocks, paper, scissors last year. Last year we did Alvin and the Chipmunks.
That's a good one though.
It's
I
cute.
Like that.
It's
Who'd
cute.
you do it with?
Miss Dennis and Miss and Miss Stack. Obviously, I am Alvin.
Oh, actually, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember
I'm
Miss Stack
Alvin Energy. Yeah.
And Miss Dennis was
Theodore.
Yeah,
she wasn't happy about
actually.
it. I'm sorry, Dennis. I'm sorry. I love you. You were definitely not Theodore. But obviously Miss Stack, Simon with the glasses, that makes sense. All about reading. We did like gnomes one year. That was when we had to wear masks, but that was like perfect.
Yeah.
Because we then like our beards were like part of the white mask, so it just like worked.
Perfect.
But this year, we are BLT.
Oh.
Bacon, lettuce, and tomato.
That's actually kind of, it's cute.
Yeah, I mean, I think I might be the lettuce. So when you just see me as a big head of lettuce.
Who's going to be bacon?
I think Miss Dennis.
It's going to be really random when you guys aren't together.
Or if I'm the tomato when you're like, cool costume, Geller.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a slice of tomato.
You're a slice of tomato.
And we're never really together.
I feel like the funniest part would be you're a piece of lettuce. Like that's funnier than tomato. But earlier before though, you said that you ski. Since
I've been 5, and that's kind of when we put our
really that young.
Yeah, and that's when we really put our daughters on the skis too. So Emma and Gigi both ski. Gigi is basically parallel skiing, which is insane. She's 11, and Emma is still trying to like find her way. So she definitely needs another like round of ski school. But I mean, my parents were big skiers. My dad used to ski Austria all the time. That's where their honeymoon was. So it's just like wild. And I think it's like, I think it's so important for kids to learn how to ski at such a young age, because like as you get older, you get more fearful because you realize that if you fall, like that's kind of where I'm at now, that I'm in my 40s and my husband's 45. We know that if we fall, like we're going down and it might actually injure yourself. Yeah. It gets really scary as you get older.
Skiing, it's a lot of fun. I love it. But it's like when you go to some of these mountains and you see some of these like club members and everything, you're like, wow, this is like such a privilege. Like some of these people are
I know.
Dumb rich, like loaded.
Yes.
And so that's what I think, like, like everybody should ski. It's just like
it's an expensive thing to like get into.
Yeah, it's like golf. It's like an expensive thing to get into.
To just
but like it's so much fun.
Oh my God, it is just so, in my opinion, like so freeing when like the wind is just, I guess I could like equate it to, I know it's so cheesy, but like almost like flying and how it must feel to just have like the wind going behind you.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm afraid of heights, so I don't love the chairlift when I really think about what I'm doing, but it's also so beautiful and so calming. Like after you just did a really cool run and you're like, I want to do that run again. Yeah. Like, did you see that powder on that? Like that was chef's kiss, and you're like, let's do that run again. But that's also like the hard part of skiing the East Coast is, the trails are so overrun and there are like a lot of man-made snow and like the way that they're groomed, and like not trying to hate on the snowboarders, but the way that they like cut the snow create the patches, and it really, really ruins my skiing experience sometimes. You know what I'm talking about when you're like, oh.
The thing with snowboarding is that I would love to, like, so I started skiing. My parents put me on skis when I was like 3 or 4. So I was like young too, and I hated it because I sucked at it. But like, what was I really expecting to be good? Yeah. Yes, because I'm 4. Yeah. But so then I was like, I want to snowboard. So I started snowboarding. So I snowboarded from like 5 to like 8 or 9, and I also sucked at it, but I liked it better.
Okay.
And then I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I have to ski. So I skied, and I ended up being really good at skiing. So I just skied. But now I would love to learn how to snowboard because like I want to go in the parks. Like while I'm young, like I want to be able to like do the pipes or like.
I know when you watch really good snowboarders, you're like, wow.
Yeah, and you're kind of just like.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and they make it look easy too.
Yeah. Yes. But that's also like skiing. Like sometimes when you watch somebody and they're completely parallel and like, and they're not bombing the mountain, but their turns are so quick. You're like, oh my God, it's like beautiful. You're like, so yeah, I feel like expert skiers and snowboarders, you just look at them and you're like, that's impressive.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's such like an expensive thing, you know, like I just brought in my skis to get waxed. And so I got to pick them up in like 2 weeks. My girls, Gigi has her own skis, but we rent her boots. And Emma, we have to rent the stuff. And just like the whole, you know, the whole getup is so expensive.
The most expensive thing isn't even just the equipment. I feel like it's more of the
well, the ski passes right now
the ski passes and what you have to wear to stay warm.
Oh my God, I know.
Jackets are so expensive.
They're so expensive.
Like just everything.
Ski
Like at this point, I don't even
bits,
have a jacket.
Yeah.
I just have ski pants and then I'll throw on like a sweatshirt.
So, oh my God, that is chilly.
It's chilly, especially when you like fall and then you get wet and then you're freezing.
That's not good. I know.
But like, I don't know. I also like.
It's a lot.
I like the way the sweatshirt looks better. I'm a big. Even on the mountain, I'm a big. I have to look good. I have to like the way I look. Okay. Because I feel like the jackets. Some of the jackets just are not drip.
Do you wear a helmet or do you wear like?
No, I wear a helmet. I just wear
hat?
I just wear like a black helmet. Okay. I wear goggles too.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah.
My
But
kids
like,
keep the goggles on top of their head, and then they're complaining. They're like, "I can't see." I'm like, "Put your goggles on."
Because sometimes you forget though too.
What?
Like you just forget that you
like,
have
you
them.
Can't, like, when you can't see, I think that's a reminder right there.
Yeah.
Like, wait, I can't see. But yeah, no, it's so true though. Like the actual equipment, it's such an expense, and that's why. So Chris got a new like job about a year and a half ago. So he's gone out to Utah, and he's taken pictures for me, and he hasn't hit the slopes yet. And he's like, "You need to come out next time." And without the kids, because I've never skied Utah. Yeah. So I feel like I would want to like know my bearings. Like now when I ski the East Coast, like I know all the trails pretty much from like Camelback
to
Window,
you know. Oh, I remember this, yeah.
Yeah, and like you kind of know, and I can kind of guide my daughters down a certain, you know, trail a certain way to avoid ice patches, or know that like certain inclines are a certain way, and like, you know, stop at the top of the incline and be like, all right, look down, it's going to look steep, but we're going to go across the mountain. I'm going to go ahead of you. Dad's going to follow you. I'm going to create a trail for you so that they can stay like a certain pace. Because Emma wants to bomb the mountain and go as fast as you can. And Juliana with speed gets like really, really nervous. So, you know, like teaching her, okay, like it's really steep. You know, you have two options. Either we could do, you know, quick turns and you'll get down really fast and you'll be safe, or I could show you how to go a little bit across the mountain, but you don't want to get stuck either. Yeah. You know, and misjudge your weight placement, that all of a sudden like you're out of your ski.
Yeah, it's a whole
you know, it's a lot.
It's a lot. But I think we're running up on time. We've been talking for a while. I honestly, let's end it on my show and tell, because I forgot to show it people. So this is my show and tell item. It's just like a very old, I think it's from like 2004 or 2000, whatever. My parents got it when, I guess, before I was even born. And I really liked the way the footage looked on it. So I decided to take it over, put an SD card in it, and I started like recording like just random times when I went with my friends, stuff like that. So I have a lot of like footage, memories, so cool. Stuff like that. I think it looks great, and I'm going to start using it for Sheep on the Loose. Because I want to switch it up. So, because like I feel like the phone thing is boring, and then like the interviews are boring. So I'm just gonna make it more interesting.
Reinvent.
Exactly. So that's my show and tell item.
I love that.
But I hope.
I miss those kind of cameras.
Yeah. Yeah. And a flip phone would be cool to have too, but nobody would.
No, the flip phone.
You don't think so?
No. No.
Okay, we're ending it here then. I hope everybody enjoyed the episode, and make sure you guys tune in on the next one. And I'll keep you guys updated when that's going to be.
Perfect.
But that's it.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Thanks to Miss Geller for coming. We really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And, yeah. So, bye, guys.
Bye.